so I was trying to use the comment tracker thing. Oh, wait, first I want to give a hearty, warm welcome to Dusty and Eduardo.
Hello, guys.
Hey, guys.
What up? Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, that deep
Eduardo is muted.
mic. And Eduardo is muted.
Sounded like Dusty. Hi, Dusty.
Okay, so I got a question. I was trying to use this comment tracker thing. So here's just a nice little conversation question starter type of thingy. So if Don wants, I don't know if he's white boxing me or not. So okay. So, all right. So if we don't understand what we're saying, how is, okay, maybe I said it, maybe I typed it really weird. How is that praying with, oh, okay. How is that praying with the mind also? That's how I said it, saying it. So if we don't understand what we're saying, how is that praying with the mind also? I have an idea of what the answer is, but I just kind of wanted to ask it to maybe confirm what I was already thinking, or just to see what you would come up with as an answer to that. That question was for Michael.
Okay.
Or Don, or Donald, or Alan, whoever.
They're particularly asking about 15. So we're in 1 Corinthians 14:15. So, and I'm going to quote it here. It says, we have to go back to 13 to get the paragraph of the substance.
Okay.
For this reason, the one who speaks in a tongue should pray that he may interpret what they say. Now, a lot of people have taught that this is, oh God, please give me the interpretation, give me the interpretation, but that is not the Greek here. It is giving you the illustration of how you interpret. The one that speaks in a tongue prays so that they can interpret what they say. In other words, we already know that it's a prayer, it's proseuchomai, but they are praying what they, so that they are interpreting. The interpretation is a prayer in understanding. So, for if I pray in a tongue, my spirit prays, but my mind is unfruitful. So what shall I do? That's the question you just asked, which is what 15 starts out with. I'll pray with my spirit, that's speaking in tongues, and I will pray with my understanding also. I will interpret those tongues. The same person that does the praying should do the interpreting, because they're the one that are doing the speaking. So it's giving you the actual schooling that's necessary to operate that in a believer's meeting by interpreting that prayer.
I guess I'm getting the, like, a couple of the words are, it's like there's that word unfruitful, and then I guess that word the mind is unfruitful, and, you know, so I'm hearing that be like, okay, so we're not understanding what we're saying. So I got that part. But on the other hand, we're using our mind. So I'm not really asking what now. I'm more or less wanting to understand the difference between the, you know, in one verse it'll say unfruitful, you know, where the mind is not understanding it, but in the next verse it'll say, you know, but we're using our mind. You know,
if you speak in tongues and you don't interpretate, then it's unfruitful. It doesn't build up the church. So when you speak in tongues in a believer's meeting, you know, because God has order and things that he does, then when you interpretate your tongue, then it's fruitful for the church. It's fruitful for the body. But it's also you know, he also encourages us to pray with our understanding. That means you pray with your heart.
Yeah, but the context here is putting that exact thing that you're asking, Chandra, up against each other. When I speak in tongues, my mind is unfruitful. I don't understand what I'm saying. But when I interpret, I understand what I'm saying just as well as you do, because I'm speaking words that are in the language of the body that is present. So
Okay, that's when you are understanding. Like, this is when I don't understand, and this
now, with that said, and the interpretation of tongues is usually it's an inspirational manifestation. It's not like I pre-think the words. I speak in tongues. Ishno baragonte alama katenes no shama cantarosante. Then I pray, gracious and heavenly Father, I'm thankful for your Son Jesus Christ. So it's not. I understood what I said when I prayed, but it wasn't a premeditated thought that was going through. It was an inspired thing because I'm operating the Spirit. Just as Christ will give the meaning in your ununderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm built up in it is because I know what I'm doing. When I'm driving to work in the morning and I'm praising God beyond my understanding, because not letting my brain cells get in the way, turning it all over to the Lord, giving the meaning, I know He's doing the best by presenting my heart to God. That's what He does. And in turn, it builds that relationship of faith, trusting His Word, and in turn, I will hear more clearly and see more clearly the other things as far as things that do happen with my understanding. I'll be inspired to prophesy, to excel to the edifying of the church. I'll be inspired to interpret prayer so people can, and me, I want to hear it, so that people in a believer's meeting can hear this praise. And it also very clearly, and I've heard many prophecies and interpretation of tongues, and it magnifies and explains God in a way. You know, believers like to say, "Oh yeah, God is wonderful, but He works in mysterious ways." No, He doesn't. He doesn't work in mysterious ways. He wants us to have faith in Him. He's invisible. He's presented His Son Jesus Christ as His representation and His written word. He's given us that word, but He wants a communion. He wants us to see Him for who He truly is. And in one hand, a person said, "Oh, God is all loving and kind," but you know, you're not. The reason why that you're having all those problems, Chandra, is because you're not listening to God, and He's just trying to keep you in line. So that God that's all loving and kind just smacked you upside the head and is giving you problems. That's confusing. You don't see that in praising God. You see the truth about He is doing good all the time. There's another entity out there. He's called the devil. That is doing bad. He steals, kills, and destroys. He's really a pissed off dude. He's trying to thwart all the things of God and make God and now the Lord Jesus Christ look bad. And in our operation of the Spirit, we will do the opposite, and that's what we're challenged to do. And I would hope that that teaching brought that out. Jesus Christ is Lord, acknowledging the truth about God. I mean, that was my biggest hope with that whole teaching.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Well, I think it went. Yeah, I think it went into. Michael brought it to another direction, but yes, in the beginning, when you first started explaining that, I was hearing. I mean, it helps, you know, as far as okay, when you interpret it, that is when you're understanding it, and also okay, this is what I'm getting at least from the answer is when you do interpret, which is not premeditated, but it is being interpreted, and it is then when you're hearing what is being interpreted, that is when you are understanding it, and then also your mind is also being used because you can stop if you want to. I don't know. It's like you're using your mind. You're being able to be as fast as you want, as loud as you want, as quiet as you want.
And you're understanding the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
When you
Yeah.
speak in tongues, you form the words, you make the sounds, you sing, or you just dictate the words. What those words mean, you have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. The context of those two verses, 13, 14, and even 15, actually go all the way back to 11 and even farther, because they're talking about how, like in battle, if someone sounds a trumpet and you don't know what that means, like if somebody played reveille and you didn't know that meant it's time to get up, you thought it meant it's time to go eat. Everybody's doing something different, and that's kind of another way of explaining that in tongues doesn't mean anything to anybody. You're like a barbarian, like a foreigner, like talking to somebody in India. Hello, hello.
Yeah.
I want my refund. They go, what?
Yeah, that's not fun.
But then 14, see, what is it? 13. 13's the one that a lot of people get all messed up, and we did too for years and years. Wherefore let him that speaks in a tongue pray. In other words, that's another way of saying speak in tongues, so that he may interpret. So when you're in a believer's meeting, you want to speak in tongues so that you can interpret. You're not actually praying to God for the ability to interpret. That's not what that means. It means to speak in tongues so that you can interpret in the believer's meeting. So it's all in the context of the believer's meeting. Does that help a little? Because then in the next verse, then it says, "For if I pray in an unknown tongue," it calls it praying. My spirit prays, but my understanding is unfruitful. That's just defining what speaking in tongues is. Your mind's unfruitful, and so is everybody else's. So then it says, well,
Scientifically, I loved that video shared so long ago. I think it would be interesting for Dusty to see as well. There was a bit, I don't know if it was a scientific study, but it was like some sort of MRI done on the brain of somebody doing the speaking in tongues, and how they saw the brain waves or something being less active, I think it was, when they were doing this speaking in tongues, and then their brain waves were like more active when they were like, I don't know, it was very interesting. I should find that video.
I remember a little bit about that. I remember it was kind of a...
Yeah, it was, the brain waves didn't change. When you normally speak, your brain waves change. When you speak in tongues, it doesn't.
Yeah, go figure.
Also, Chandra, you got to be careful too, because you cherry picked one verse out of a context. It always has to be understood in light of the context. We're talking about speaking. I mean, which version was that from? Do you remember? Which version of the Bible?
I was just reading off of Michael's slide at the time.
Okay, I'm sitting here looking at it. It was verse 14, right?
Mm-hmm.
In whatever version I happen to be looking at here at the moment, which I think is the NIV, it says, For if I pray in a tongue, my spirit prays, but my mind is unfruitful. So what shall I do? I will pray with my spirit, but I will also pray with my understanding. I will sing with the spirit, but I will also sing with my understanding. That's verses 14 and 15.
Yeah, I just think I need to really soak that up because I don't know, it's still, I guess maybe I don't know what's going on with my head right now, but it's just really like
You have a
hard to,
crown on top.
yeah, I
Yeah, it's a crown.
do.
It must be rubbing, giving you a blister. Looks
Um,
like
I
it's
don't
ready to fall off sometimes.
My spirit prays, but my mind is unfruitful. And then in the next one, I pray with my spirit, uh, but I also pray with my understanding. Same thing with singing with the spirit.
The
I
praying
sing
with
with
the
my understanding.
understanding is the
So
interpretation.
my mind is unfruitful when I pray in a tongue, but I'm using that exact same unfruitful mind when I said I will pray with my spirit, but I'm also praying with my understanding, and so to me it's like, okay, but I'm praying with my unfruitful mind.
No,
I mean,
you're
I mean,
using spirit in both cases. When you speak in tongues or interpret tongues, it is a manifestation of the spirit. It is not your mind involved in that at all. It's the only part that your mind is involved in is choosing to do it.
okay, so when it says, but I will also pray with my understanding, I mean that's a different translation, right? In the other translation, didn't it say mind or no?
Let's see, it says, for I will pray in a tongue, my spirit prays, but my mind is unfruitful.
What's that?
So what shall I do? I will pray with my spirit. I will also pray with my understanding.
And that understanding is the word nous.
Right, that's the mind, the organ of mental perception.
Right.
Right. So in another translation, would it say with my mind instead of with my understanding?
It's my nous. Yeah, yeah, but the nous is the understanding of the mind. And again, going back to taking something that is unfruitful to the body because nobody understands it and making it fruitful to the body so that people can understand it, self-included. I understand it.
Okay. All right. See, it's
Now
seeping in
that,
a little bit more. Seeping a little bit more. I mean, I'm so sorry that I have such a hard skull. I mean, this stuff is so mind-blowing to me. So
Join the rest of us, Sandra. We all went through it.
okay.
that verse 15 is actually talking about speaking in tongues and interpretation.
Yeah, just
Interpretation of
blows
tongues.
my mind. So yeah. But you guys are wonderful by being so patient with me because I'm just like,
It's
you
the
know,
crown.
it's the ground.
It's easy.
Well, okay, that's the only question I had for you tonight. I don't know, Dusty, did you want to chime in with the question by any chance, or no? With your Eastern theology?
I have nothing to add. If that's what you're asking.
I guess.
I have something to add tonight. When it said the wonders of God, when Mike was teaching, and that became really huge and big to me because that actually meant grand, magnificent, splendid. The wonders of God is, the creator of the universe. So anyway, I thought that was really totally awesome that word was actually expressions of how vast and awesome and huge and magnificent and splendid God is, and grand. I mean, like, not like just grand, but grand, huge.
Grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, like $1,000.
More.
Agreeing.
And more.
Yeah. Um, yeah, speaking of that, the awesomeness, this is completely off topic of manifestations, but I wanted to share it with you guys because I just thought it was really cool. When I went on the field trip with my son last Friday, on the volcanic Mount Lassen Volcanic National Park or whatever. I learned a little something, right, from the ranger about volcano stuff and whatever. I would be horrible at repeating anything he said, really. But okay, but it was actually like a neat experience it was actually a faith-building experience, which, you wouldn't think you would get by just going on a little nature. Well, maybe you would think you would that would happen, but I wasn't expecting that though. So as I'm on this field trip, what the faith building part was, as the ranger was explaining, like this park is untouched by man. Okay, so when you have a part of the earth that's untouched by man, not messed with, okay, it's left to do all the stuff that's intended, and when he's explaining how, like, this whole cycle works, how things fall under the rock and there's holes in the rock, and it makes it easy for this to go down in this type of rock, and then this goes here and then this goes there, and it's just so awesome to think how that's strategic. That is strategic. That's not, to me, that's not accidental. That's total strategic planning by a creator. That's why it was faith building for me, because it was just kind of like, that just cannot be done that wonderful and that strategic with another. And then it goes all the way down to this thing called an extremophile. An extremophile, okay? He said that the difference between us and a bacteria, right, which is like a huge difference, he said that's the same difference from that bacteria to the extremophile. Like and these extremophiles live in this sulfuric bubbly acid, or I don't know, extreme conditions like the lava, and it goes into energy, it eats rock. It was like a fascinating little thing that I should probably learn about more, because I thought it was extremely fascinating, extreme. But the fact that, after hearing all that stuff and just thinking, wow, God really goes into all that planning and all that strategic, cycling, and all the way down to an extremophile. It goes that small. Like, that's just crazy awesome. So I thought it was really cool. I just wanted to share that with you guys because it was just mind-boggling.
And you learned this from a field trip?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Who went on the field trip?
I know.
Who?
It was my 11-year-old son.
Wait, hold on. Stop. Your school, or your son's school, sent your 11-year-old son?
Uh-huh.
To a volcano.
It was a class trip, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To a volcano.
There's a hidden message in there somewhere from the school.
I know. I was nervous about it, too. I was like,
okay.
Was the ground warm beneath your feet?
Not
All
that
right.
I feel. It was snowing. It was snowing.
A volcano?
It's a volcano nonetheless.
Well, apparently because he was telling us what it looks like during the different seasons, and apparently it's actually kind of more active when it's in the winter season, because the snow is giving it something to work, like water, to melt, and I don't know, something about that just activates everything and makes it bubbly and whatever. and then like in the springtime or the summertime, it's all dried up, so there's nothing to like, I don't know, there's nothing to melt or whatever, so it's like not as active. And I mean, yeah, there's like steam. I have, I put up all the pictures of it so you could see the bubbly. I put up the video so you guys could see the bubbliness, and then I put up the picture so you guys could see all the.
Lovely.
I would say that a good trip to a volcano is one that you come back from and tell us about. A bad trip is one that we say, wow, maybe you shouldn't have went there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was nervous, but
Examples of not missing God anywhere.
Yes.
I think that's one of those examples where you can see God everywhere. When your eyes are open and you see his wondrous works. I was on Facebook for a very short period of time today, and I saw a frozen frog from Alaska. And it was so funny looking that I had to laugh, and then I smiled, and then I read the article underneath is how these certain kind of tree frogs in Alaska actually will freeze, but in the spring they unthaw and come back to life. And
well,
I was blown away how cool God was with this silly looking frog that had frostbite all over his poor little body.
oh my gosh.
Wow. Check it out.
Wow, that is cool. So is that like a common thing, or was it just like a one-timer?
That's like for real. Like, you were so intrigued with the smallest little teeniest molecule or cell or whatever it is. I'm not scientific, but yeah, that's how big our God is. I mean, I can look at you and see the wonderful works of God, and it's like, it's amazing how he puts things together and shows us such beauty. Like the best instance for that to me is I think of a rose. This thorny, ugly bush. And at the very, very top is just beautiful, rose. This velvet, beautiful design. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah. Do you think the thorns were there
No,
before?
I don't. Personally, I don't.
Yeah. It didn't
But that's,
doesn't specify, but
yeah, I mean, I love to garden. I love to dig in the dirt, and I think about God a whole lot when I do that, because I think of how you pull out all the weeds to get the beauty and to clean it. And I think about my life and all the weeds and the thorns and the trash that, you have to renew your mind to the Word of God to get to see the beauty of God, and how everything starts with the seed. And, and the seed has to be dead before it grows. So like when we're born again, we're dead. We're dead. And then we start growing. And then you can look at a tree and think, well, that didn't happen overnight.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
We grow up. And speaking in tongues, I mean, the first time I ever heard it, to me, it was like, wow. But I hope they don't call on me, because I don't know how to do that. I mean, that was my thought, And, but it didn't scare me. I thought, wow, I mean, this is totally awesome. And the first time that I remember doing it, Chandra, I was like, this has to be God, because I can't even speak Spanish. I mean, I took it for like 3 years in high school and remember one sentence. It's got to be God. And it is the wonderful words of God to us, to bless us, to encourage us, to love us, to help us, to spank us, depending on what we need at the time. And And I think Don Colt gave a beautiful example to you and really all of us at the last meeting, and he said, do it a whole lot till you're comfortable.
Hmm.
And I think that's a key of getting out of the box. Do it till you're comfortable.
Yeah, I still feel bad when John, do we have an interpreter, speak in tongues, prophesy, or, whenever you ask that question, I feel so like, I don't think this is God doing this, but still, like, I just feel this overwhelming sense of, I feel so bad because I'm not stepping out of the boat, especially not in front of all these people, and I'm just like not doing it, and I feel so bad about that. But
Well,
yeah,
we're all in there.
yeah. But it's like a reminder every single time. Dang it! When are we gonna get that meeting going so that I can practice in front of you guys? Like, just practice, like, it's almost like public speaking all over again, only it's just a different kind of speaking, if you know what I mean. So some people don't even like to speak English, okay, or their own language in front of people, let alone doing the speaking in tongues, So public speaking, I'm okay with, is in English, but I have a little stage fright when it comes to the speaking in tongues part. So anyway, I guess Dusty like either got cut off or left or whatever. But anyways, that's all I got.
It's like the first time you drove your car and your white knuckles. You're going down the road and you don't want to look left and you don't want to look to the right, and all you want to do is keep your eye on the road, and you don't want to talk to anybody. You're afraid to reach for the radio. But the more you do it,
I wasn't that uptight when I don't know about you. I wasn't that uptight when I learned that.
Then one hand can come off the steering wheel. Now you can do two things at once.
I was paranoid because I did the stick shift.
It's just doing it.
I learned how to do the stick shift first, so yeah, I guess I was a basket case with the stick shift. And when I drove an automatic for the first time, my friend let me drive her car, and she's like, "You've never driven an automatic?" I was like, "No, that's why I don't like to drive. I just don't like to drive, because I just didn't like the stress of the stick shift." And so she's like, "Here, try. You got to try this." And when she let me in and she was giving me the instructions, and she's like, "Okay, now just go." I'm like, "Shut up." Like, is that it? Is that all I have to do?
I'm confused about something.
What?
I've heard you speak in tongues and interpret. I don't understand the issue.
That was an extreme. I don't even remember when that happened, but obviously that was a while ago, wasn't it?
I mean, on one of these, or one of, maybe it was a Sunday night gig. I don't remember, but I know you did it.
Yeah, it's a stage fright thing, like every once in a while maybe I'll. Okay, apparently on that particular night I did it, like, maybe I pushed myself enough to like do it somehow, but it's a fear thing. I don't know.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Don't push it. Listen to the word, and when you come to the point where you want to share your praise, because I know you speak in tongues, when you come to the point to where you want to share your praise with the rest of us, then you'll speak in tongues and interpret.
But I want to. I just am.
Well, when you come to the point to where you really want to, you will. So don't make it a deal. Just listen to the word.
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair. I don't like hearing. I don't like if you want to or if you really want to, because I mean that's like telling somebody who's scared to do public speaking in English, like, oh well, if you want to, then you'll do it. And it's like, can't really say that to somebody who's scared of public speaking, because it's like, yeah, sure they want to. It's just hard.
Well, even though, now think about it in your public speaking of things, there have been things that you've been very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you have less of a chore? I mean, you might have had a chore kicking the football off, but once you opened your mouth and started sharing what you're, just like now, I mean, you're sharing your heart, you're excited about sharing your heart. So when that excitement comes to the point to where you want to praise God in a fellowship, it'll be there. It's not like.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why. I mean, my heart aches that I'm not stepping out of the boat with, during Wednesday night fellowships, and I mean, it just really is like, it actually just makes me want to smack myself just because I'm not doing it. And okay, or maybe I wonder if it's like, and this is just a theory, I wonder if it's an OCD thing. I don't know. Because I really, really want to just do it in a small group first, like practicing. Or just, and I know Don, and I just haven't taken advantage of it yet. I haven't taken advantage of Don Chamberlain and whoever else one of you, to just call you and practice. I just haven't done it. I don't know. So that's my bad, for forgetting kind of thing. Oh, maybe I have to have an appointment, like not just, it shouldn't be random, because, like I tell my friends, I will be running around like a chicken with my head cut off, but if you call me, like, I may not remember to just sit down and call one of my friends, but if my friends call me, then that's what makes me stop and sit down and chat with them. So it's almost like I need an appointment, or I need somebody to call me. I understand how codependent that is, but I'm admitting it here, okay? Like, that is my issue, whether that's a flaw or not, whatever. I believe that is definitely my hindrance, like what's holding me back. It's my codependency and my running around like a chicken with the head cut off all the time. So, anyway. All right, enough of my life issues. Okay, can I get out of the hot seat? Pass, next. Somebody else now. No?
Well, it's 11:30, and I know there's a couple guys here who have to work tomorrow morning.
There you go. There's my exit. Oh, I love you guys.
So, how much?
We love you too.
Do you guys want to call it a night? I mean, it's you two who are going to suffer, not us.
Yes, I need to go. I need to call it a night.
Me too.
Okay, so we'll just call it a night. See you, everybody.
All
Have a
right.
good time.
Nighty-night.
Speaking tongues much.
Yes.
Okay. Love you.